I'm Terry. I'm from Athens, from Afternoiz.
Hello, Terry.
It's my honor to speak with you. I love your music. And with the release of Parallel Matter, Antimatter takes us on a journey through recordings spanning up to almost 30 years.
That's right, yeah.
Was this collection a project you have envisioned for a long time, or was just the coincidence of 2025 that you found perfect to release it?
Well, it was coming for a long time, because in 2010 we did a very similar release called Alternative Matter, which was kind of just cleaning out the archive of all these unreleased recordings. So after that, it was only a matter of time before the archive filled back up, and I would seek to do another release like this, and to coincide it with an anniversary seems to make a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's a quarter of a century,
which is insane. That's nuts, you know.
Yeah.
Time's really getting away.
Yeah.
Now, it's running away.
And as we said now about the quarter of a century for your music and your musical performances and songwriting and all these things, how would you describe your music through the years? What changed?
What changed? I think things got a lot more intricate as I've got older, because I'm always searching for that little bit extra. So like my music in the early days was very basic, and there's nothing wrong with basic, but because very basic music can allow the lyric to really shine through. But I think from the second album onwards, I was looking to get a bit more progressive. So that was like 2003, and I just, ever since then, I'm never happy to just, if I start a song, I'm never happy to stay on one particular train track. I always want to jump from one train track to another and then find my way back to the original train, if that makes any sense. I'm always taking little detours, quite like Black Sabbath did a lot, back in the day. They'd get halfway through a song and then fuck off, they're on a completely different journey, and then they find their way back to the start of the song again. And that's just a natural thing, because I started becoming more and more restless with musical arrangements. So that's the one thing that I could say. I've been pushing for more and more intricacy in not just the musical arrangement, but the guitar parts and probably the vocal lines as well. And I don't know how far I can take that.
Okay.
I'm sure it'll get to a point where it's like, in my opinion, I've gone too far and I'll need to pull it back a bit.
Yeah, it's on your mind, in your soul also. So you will know the way. When you walk, you find out what's coming next.
That's right.
But for these 25 years, I was thinking that maybe, I don't know, maybe, can you divide Antimatter's music into periods? What title would you put in these different phases of this band?
I think everything up to Leaving Eden was one period, and I knew exactly what I was doing after Leaving Eden, because I felt like Antimatter had disappeared up its own arse by the second album, with this kind of journey, and there was no way I could have gone on to do another album like that anyway. So it was a good job that Duncan suggested that we do an acoustic album. That was entirely his idea, and it was, at the time, it was more of a pragmatic decision, because I think he wanted to get out of just get out of contracts kind of quickly, So I think in his mind he thought an acoustic album would be quicker you know. But like I always, well, not always. That's not right. Many times when I'm writing a song, it will begin on acoustic guitar anyway. You know, so it was more natural to do it that way, because I think the whole Portishead Massive Attack thing dated Antimatter way too much, and I think so. The first two albums, that's one period straight away.
Okay, and what title should you give to this period?
Trip hop.
Trip hop. Okay.
Yeah, trip hop worship, unnecessary trip hop worship.
Okay, I will write it down.
So after that, then the next two albums were very, in a very similar vein, but just done on more natural instruments, and that was what I was really seeking to do. On my session for Planetary Confinement, I wouldn't even allow an electric guitar on that session. I wanted acoustic guitar, violins, drums. The only thing that got plugged in was the bass guitar, you know. I wanted just wood and metal, you know, to be. And then Leaving Eden was kind of an electric version of that, kind of an amped up. So that's your second period right there.
Okay,
you know?
And the title of it?
Natural, the natural period, you know.
Natural.
But it was also, I became very disenchanted with the lyrical angle, because it was all very, you know, self-pitying, you know, and you know that's great for a couple of songs, but you can't keep doing that. And by the time I finished Leaving Eden, I really needed something new to do. And I think that the pivotal point was when there was a fan in America who he had Leaving Eden on repeat.
Okay.
And he went through some bad times and took himself out into a field one night, you know, and ended it all, you know. So that was, you know, I got messages from the friends, you know, leave a message on Mike's page, you know, because I'd spoken to him a few times. And, you know, they were saying, you know, man, you know, he couldn't stop playing Leaving Eden in his last days. And I just thought, I'm not doing this anymore.
It's sad.
Yeah. You know? So, like, from that point onwards, I mean, I'd felt that change coming anyway. And when that happened to Mike, that was the final straw for me. So I had to go looking for a completely different sound, and I didn't know what it would be, but I just started getting more and more pulled towards the music I listened to when I was a kid. You know, like Ultravox was my big band when I was like 9 years old, you know. So I got drawn back to the darker synth days of the early 80s, and then I kind of mashed that up with progressive rock and grunge, you know, and then from that point onwards, that's kind of the journey I've been on ever since. And within that, I'll do what the fuck I want now. I'll just, like, if I want to do, you know, like a 8-minute track with no recurring sections, I'll do it. If I want to do a 2.5-minute track on acoustic guitar with just a verse and a chorus, I'll do it.
Yeah, please do it. Please do it. Yeah. We love it. We love it. So do it. It's fun. It's okay for us.
That's it. I'll do whatever I want. There are no real rules now, you know. For the first two albums, Antimatter was incredibly dogmatic. You know, so that needed to get shaken loose, and yeah, so that's the final period from 2012 onwards. Just the freedom period.
Freedom.
Also,
my name is Freedom in Greek.
Really?
Yeah, my name
That's
is.
great.
Yeah,
that's
it's
really cool.
Lευτέρης. It's how you call a free man.
That's cool. What a cool name. That's really cool. So yeah, so that was, you know, just kind of be free and do what you want, but keep the lyrics looking outside. Keep it. I'm more interested in human behaviour now, and you know, sociological and a touch of political stuff. You know, which is more important and more valuable to me. It is
also. So because music, it's not only just music, it's a way to express and what we feel, what we think, what we want to deliver to the world. It's everything. So I was telling you offline that in my opinion your appearance in Athens at An Club back in 2007 was brilliant. And but there were a few people who witnessed this outstanding acoustic performance. It was very, very few visitors, spectators. What do you remember from this show? And what happened with all this recording?
I've got so many memories from that day, and I think it actually wasn't meant to be recorded. You know, it turned out to be a live album, but it was never meant to be recorded. In fact, I didn't even know it was being recorded until, you know, maybe 3 to 6 months later, when Pete passed me he said, "Hey, this guy's got in touch and he's given me the recording." So like I was able to fully, you know, launch my record label with that. So that means a lot to me, you know, that, you know, and I learned about the business, and I learned that, you know, you get ripped off. I mean, fuck me, I really got ripped off with that. I sent it to about 5 different distributors, and only one paid me. The rest of them just blocked me and wouldn't reply to emails. Yeah. So it's a brutal business. Yeah, you know,
it is.
But so it was originally meant to be performed to a series of loops, but the loops fucked up 30 seconds into the first song, and then we just went, right, okay, well, let's play the whole gig acoustic. Yeah. You know, so we had to pull an acoustic gig out of our arses, you know.
And I remember the Living Eden performance was perfect, and it was Danny also there, and you were sitting. It was such a unique night. It wasn't just a live concert. It was something like a friends group that we joined, and we shared feelings.
Yeah, that's nice.
I remember.
That's nice. But I mean, I always feel that way about acoustic shows anyway. Yeah. Because like when I grew up, when I was a kid in Liverpool in the late 70s, early 80s, my family used to have, everyone would gather at the head of the family's house, and they'd drink right through the night, and, you know, people would, you know, start singing at a certain time of the night, you know, when everyone was completely drunk. And they'd take it in turn, and they'd go round from one person to another, sing a song, completely unaccompanied.
Yeah.
You know, because they didn't have the technology then, you know, there was no, you know, karaoke tracks on YouTube, so it was, that's my memory of kind of like parties, was very musical and very communal. So whenever I approach an acoustic show, that's the way that's where I'm approaching it from. You know, not an electric show, but certainly an acoustic show.
Yeah, it's different. And how does it feel to play in front of a small, intimate, let's let's say, audience compared to a large stage? What emotional contrasts do you experience in these situations?
It's all down to the individual gig. I mean, I've played really cool gigs in front of, less than 30 people. And I've played awful gigs in front of, hundreds and hundreds of people. So it's not, but then I've also played, and then the opposite as well. So there's no, but I mean, the thing is when you've got a small room, first thing you've got to do is you've got to get over it. You've got to get over that fact, because it can be a bit of you can be not kind of feel let down, but you can feel kind of like, shit, man, there's going to be no atmosphere here because there's not many people. And then the job's on you then to drive more atmosphere into the room somehow. So you've got to get over that fact and just treat it like any other show.
And maybe the show will be better or not. It depends on many things. And also
it's honestly it's different circumstances, and like I say, we played a gig in I think it was Belgium once, and honestly there was maybe 25 people there, and it was an amazing show. There was smoke and lights, and the audience were just they all came up to us, and it was a really cool memory.
Great. Yeah, these are memories, these are things to remember. And after 6 years, 6 years ago you were in Death Disco here in Athens again, and now Saturday 1st of March again in Athens in Piraeus Academy. And what should we expect to listen for this 25 years live concert?
Well, I'd noticed that over the last 8 years, the Antimatter set list had been distilled into probably the same 15 songs getting played again and again, because you think
they're great songs.
Well, yeah, and you start learning what works, like what the audience respond to. So it's like, you can always count on Leaving Eden, you can always count on The Last Laugh, and it was like, after a while I was like, okay, I mean, this is where we are now, and whenever you do a new album, you pull some new tracks in. But I mean, I wanted to go out and celebrate 25 years for this, and invite people out to a special show. And I thought, well, I can't invite anybody out and call it a special show if I'm just going to play the same show I played last year and the year before that and the year before that. So I decided to reach into the discography and pull out songs that have either never been played live before, or it's been a long time since they've been played, and create a set list completely out of the, like a football substitutes bench, And I was so happy to, we did the first leg in January, so happy to realise that all these songs that were not getting played are just as special as the ones I've been playing for the longest time. So that made me quite proud, I guess, to realise that even I can't call them rejects because that's not right, but even the abandoned songs
people
are
love
really fucking strong. So I made a set list out of that, and it's lovely. It's lovely to play Saviour with a full live band. It's lovely to play Existential from Black Market Enlightenment, Liquid Light. It's just amazing to pull all these songs out and just experience them. But I think because it's been a while since we were in Greece anyway, I'll put a couple of the standard classic tracks back into the set, and
for the old time's sake.
Yeah, because it's not as if we've been coming to Greece every year and playing, So I'm going to mix it all up, and I've actually just finished rehearsal, a few minutes before we began this, and I've just gone through the set. Perfect. And it sounds really good. It sounds good to me, so yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back.
We're looking forward
and also, I've got to say, I really love the Greek food as well, so
we also like it, so we get fat, so we can't get over it.
Older and fatter and older.
Yeah. Eventually, that's life. We grow strong on mind and also on the stomach. But I keep drinking English ale.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah, this is Guinness now. But
Irish.
Yeah, it's Irish. Cheers.
Cheers to you, man.
But I like also English beers. I think they're better than Greek ones. But it's all whatever likes.
I'm a gin drinker.
You're a gin drinker, yeah.
Yeah, for the longest time. Yeah.
Gin is good also.
Yeah,
it's
good.
And if I were to say that if you look back, what advice would you give to your younger self-starting Antimatter or younger self-starting Mick Moss?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say I didn't start Antimatter. I mean, I started my own project in 1995. That was Mick Moss, and that went on to be one half of Antimatter, But if I was to give the 30 years ago Mick Moss any advice, I'd just say don't fucking stop, Okay. Just keep going. Believe it or not, you're doing the right thing. You're doing the right thing by yourself as well, because when people can be so cynical towards musicians. When the people around you, your family, and people on the outskirts.
It's difficult to cope with all these things eventually.
Yeah, but it's like people are like, what the fuck are you doing with your time, man? You should be concentrating on other things. And I knew that in my heart of hearts, I had no option but to focus on music full time, in the hope that it would, rescue me psychologically,
And which album do you feel represents that thing you just told me? The album that rescues you. Do you have any favorite album of yours?
Strangely enough, the album I enjoy the most, well, no, I can't say that because I actually don't listen to Antimatter albums once they're recorded.
It's my next question.
Yeah. I mean, I can't, because I listen to them, when they're being written, I listen to them, and then when they're being recorded, I listen to them when they're being mixed. I listen to them when they're being mastered.
I know.
I listen to
hours and hours.
So, I mean, I can't even calculate how many times I listen to an individual song. But my favorite album in memory is A Profusion of Thought, which is strange because that was a collection of tracks that had previously been cut from previous albums. So it was actually a CD of orphans. And I think what I enjoy about it the most is, what I enjoy about the memory of it the most is that it's such a rainbow of different styles of music. There's so many different things in there. And what a way to go forward. So yeah, I mean, that's a pretty special album to me at the moment.
Perfect. And you talk about that you don't listen to your songs because of course you listen to hours and hours and hours. Okay, it's fully understandable. But if you listen to your songs or any particular song that or lyric from your lyrics that feels the most personal to you, almost like let's say a diary entry.
They're all diaries. I mean, every single one is a diary. So there's nothing that's more personal than another, because every single one is a complete reflection on, you know, every single song is an entry into, you know, my personal diary.
It is also for me. When I listen to No Contact song or Fighting for Lost Cause or Epitaph, it's special entries. It's something unique about this song.
Yeah, I mean, Epitaph was such a personal song, because I had that melody, and I mean, I just couldn't attach a lyric to it at all, because the melody was so stirring, you know. It really, you know, it really touched me. So I had the melody for, I mean, I can't even say, maybe 6 months, and I couldn't bring it to a closure. And then on the day my grandmother died, I got the news that my grandmother had died, and I wrote the lyrics within maybe 10 minutes. It all just came out, you know, all in one go. And I had the acoustic guitar.
They flashed. It's like
they just. I cried the lyrics out.
Like a waterfall.
Yes, it was. Well, it was. And I had to put the acoustic guitar down, and the tears were coming, and I'd pick the acoustic guitar back up, you know. And it was just a special song about just the house that, you know, my grandparents lived in. That was like my safe place.
Yeah.
There will not be a safer place for me than that house. And it was just my way of saying to myself, well, you know, you're going to have to create a map of this house now in your head, a strong map, and keep it there forever, you know.
So like a comfort zone, safe place.
Yes. Yeah.
Emotional safe place. Okay.
Exactly.
I like it. Maybe it's one of your lyrics in the next album.
Well, I'm not sure if I haven't written an Antimatter song for 8 years. No, 7 years now. You know, because I did a Profusion of Thought in 2022.
2022,
Now that was songs that were already written. You know, each one had a hole. Some of them had big holes. So there was periods of writing, you know, in those years where I would fill in a hole for those songs, but I didn't write any new songs. And since I finished a Profusion of Thought, I've been working on the second Sleeping Pulse album, which is another project that
I know. With the guy from the Foreshadowing.
Oh no, that's another project as well. That's yet another project. Sleeping Pulse is with a Portuguese guy, Luis Fazendero.
Luis. Yeah.
So we did the first album. From Painted Black. That's right. Yeah.
I know.
So we've been doing the demos for the second album.
Okay.
And the drums got recorded for that a couple of days ago. So when I get back from this tour, I'll be coming straight back to. I'm actually sitting in my studio now where I record all my albums, and I'll be recording the vocals for the next Sleeping Pulse album. But you're right.
When it's about to release?
Oh well, we hope to get that out in autumn.
Soon.
I've been back and forth with the record label only today to discuss when we would like to get that released. But you're right, I am also doing a project with Andrea from the Foreshadowing, and that's called The End of Empathy. Me and him, man, we've been writing so many songs. It's insane. It's such a fertile ground that me and him inhabit. And songs are just you just shake the tree and a song will fall off, shake the tree again and another song falls off. He's sending me music, I'm singing over it. And it's like Antimatter, it's more like a gothic tune.
No,
it's not.
Andrea
it's not
had
like
in the Foreshadowing before.
Yeah, it's more like, if you were to listen to the project called MMXX?
I know, MMXX, I know, of course.
So I did 3 songs for them, and they were all co-written, me and Andrea. So it's going to sound that kind of thing, a lot more on the modern melodic metal, doomy, gothic.
I thought I have a radio show. It's Tuesday night, and tomorrow it's Tuesday, so I will play one MMXX. And also, in your last album, in Parallels, there's a song Angelic.
Yeah.
That has a more gothic tune, let's say.
Yeah. Well, I wrote that song in 1990. I think very early 1997.
Wow.
So that's like 28 years old.
Okay.
You know. So it went on the first Antimatter album, you know, in the form that it was on. But you know, I always I like fucking around with a piece of music. I like to take a piece of music and turn it on its head. So if you take a look at Parallel Matter, there's an acoustic song called Breaking the Machine, which I've done full on Depeche Mode version of, you know. So I'll take an electric song, I'll make it acoustic. I'll take an acoustic song, I'll make it electric, you know. So I'd been playing this version of Angelic for about 7-8 years, and I thought it was about time that I did a studio version of it. So that's where that came about.
Perfect. I have one. I love the lyrics in general. As a radio producer, I like lyrics.
Angelic is the first song I ever wrote about as a direct reaction to dealing with narcissism and psychopaths, you know, because you know they're peppered around society, you know. It's like I think it's like this
all over.
They're everywhere in every walk of life, and I just can't deal with that. I can't deal with it. Even at this age, I still can't deal with that behavior, you know. So, you know, Angelic was the first song I ever wrote where I'm reacting to narcissistic behavior, and so even 28 years ago, I was suffering with that, and I think I kind of attract these people because they're kind of predatory and cold.
They are predators. Yeah.
And I'm such a kind of soft idiot, you know. I don't ever, you know, it takes a lot for me to put boundaries up, you know, and say, you know. Yeah. So I think I will continue to attract these types.
And this is the way they feed. They feed because they feed because we fear. They feed because we are reluctant or we are behind everything, and that's their way.
They're looking for people who won't give them much of pushback, you know.
And but there is this song, one of my, I think, I don't think, I'm sure about. It's my favorite song. It's fighting. Not fight for less cause. No Contact song.
Okay.
And in the No Contact song, you say that clones, they sit together, but I'm one. I'm cut from a different frame. I can't sync up. Wired to replicate, to recognize as one, and I can feel no contact. What's the story behind all these lyrics?
That was about me just at a certain point in my life. I just had no connection with the immediate society around me. I'm not talking about close family and friends here. I'm talking about society as I perceived it, and I always felt that, like here in Liverpool, there was a certain voice you had to speak in, there was a certain way you had to move, there was a certain clothes you had to wear, and it was all just like a wall of clones, and there was no way I was ever going to subscribe to that.
Or you could escape also.
But exactly. But I couldn't escape it as well, you know. So it was, you know. And that's what that's about. It's just a feeling of having nothing, absolutely nothing in common with, you know, when you walk out your door and you see your, you know, general society, you know, but I don't feel like that anymore. You know, that was how I felt. You know, that was taken from fear of unique identity. So that was potentially written 15 years ago.
Yeah. It's different phases of life. So music expression of your life also. So, yeah. And we have some more minutes. What do you hope? I have two questions for you before we leave. What do you hope the listeners take away from Antimatter's songs? What do you want us to feel to your music?
The same thing I feel when I enjoy a piece of music. It's just to be taken on a journey for that amount of time and momentarily forget your troubles. You know, that's music for me just takes me away from the harshness of reality, you know. So, you know, I consume a lot of music, and I've been like that since I was a kid, you know. So it's like there was always the radio was always playing
something,
you know, and I was like looking around and picking vinyls off the shelf, you know. And I was really small, but like I recently had a conversation with my mum, and she said, I don't know what it is, I always need to have music playing, you know. So I think it might even be possibly a genetic thing, you know.
Maybe.
But yeah, I consume a hell of a lot of music. Like when I'm going to sleep, I'll be streaming jazz, you know, because I like jazz because it just spirals, and it
spirals.
You know, you can really kind of like disappear in that. If I have to wake up really early, I'll put Megadeth or the Sex Pistols on just to give myself a shot in the arm. You know, I'm always, and then if I really want to listen to music, I'll go downstairs, and I've got a vinyl room downstairs with coloured lights and about 650 LPs.
Oh,
you know, so
perfect.
I mean, when my friends come over, when you go in that room, it's impossible to leave.
Yeah,
it's impossible to leave.
Yeah, of course. Perfect. So, as we close this interview, I want to thank you so much for talking to me personally and from all the staff from AfternoiZ, our website. And I will see you in Athens in 5 days from now. So we'll have a chat there. And what's your message to all who listens to us now and your fans in Greece before the show in Athens?
Oh man, you know, my message is always the same. It's thank you for helping Antimatter to go from one album to another, you know, because that's the goal, is when you finish one album, just to be able to make another one, you know. And my second message would be, if you're struggling right now, dig in there, man, and hold on, because change is going to come.
Yeah, this is a strong one. And in my life, in my problems, the problems I had faced in the past, I have this strong friend close to me, and it was music. And your songs also helped me so much
Thank you.
to feel this kind of feeling that I wanted to feel, if I can say it good in English.
Yeah.
So, see you in Saturday, Mick. We're always keen on seeing you live, and we will speak again. Thank you.
Cool, man. Come over and say hello, and I'll see you on Saturday, and thanks very much for this.
Of course, we will. Thank you. Bye-bye.